Hello everyone, and thanks for taking the time today to watch this video where I'm going to cover the changes we are making to our scoping and invoicing tools, what changes you will need to make, what changes you might want to make, and where we're going to go next with this thing. For starters, a tool you probably don't use very often is going to become more relevant. In Settings, under Budgets is a section called Line Items. Historically, Line Items has been the section where Job-Dox learns what's in your estimates via the recap by category that you were uploading into a job that became your budget. In other estimating softwares, these trades were how the large estimates were wrapped up into neat recaps. Our scoping and price list will be linked to these trades for the creation of a recap by category right now, and integration to budget soon. Spend a little time on this table, look through it, maybe clean it up if you like. Not required, but it might make things easier for you in the future. The next step is creating a link. If you go to Scope, inside Settings, you'll get your default price list. Just as a reminder, while you may have several price lists with different things and different rates on them, the default list will always contain everything, so for today we'll just work here. You can see a new category column here, and of course it's searchable and sortable. When you click on an entry here, you'll see Category is a drop-down list inherited from the budget trades we looked at earlier. My list is pretty small, but you might have hundreds of things listed here. A pro tip for people with keyboards: anytime you encounter a drop-down list like this, you can just hit a few keys on your keyboard to move to a point in the list matching your keystrokes. You might want to keep two tabs open while you work on the first few times, one in budget trades and one here, until you learn the real names of the trades you are looking for. Set up a few of these before we move on to a job, or you won't have much to look at. Let's move on to a job that I've already added some scope entries. The first thing that has changed here is under the Equipment tab. We are moving away from the pencil edit controls you see here and moving towards the use of checkboxes on the left. This will let you make changes to large groups of equipment at the same time. If you need to make changes to equipment that was loaded into drawing, like this air scrubber, you'll still need to make those changes in drawing. But now you can select a few pieces of gear, or all of it, click Edit, and select a work type as well as a room. Make your changes, then click Save. You can now use this tool to assign an air scrubber for stabilization, for example, for a period of time before you do any real drying work, and have that equipment show up in a different invoice. Moving on to the invoice, you may have noticed that you can no longer build an overall invoice for multiple work types. Since this tool is financial in nature and links to our budgets, invoices need to be built by budget or work type. This interface was changed a little while ago to prevent the confusing step of maybe building an invoice for mold and ES at the same time, and the system not being able to show these invoices in the budget tools properly. There is a new tab here, Recap. As you can see here, this table will collect and sum the values of the entries by trade, creating a familiar recap by category. Each of these entries is clickable and can be used to determine which items are still uncategorized. This tool doesn't give you the control for fixing uncategorized entries, so the keep a second tab open strategy will be valuable here for the first couple of times you use this tool. Back on the cover page, if you want this recap included in your invoice, use the Include Recap checkbox and click Save. As before, this will put the invoice into Documents, where it's just a straight PDF that you can email to someone, and it's also going to be in the budget under Accounts Receivable and can be viewed and worked on there. So what's next for this tool? We're going to make the invoice approvable like other entries in the budget, and once approved, it will import the trades into the budget, making it work like the estimate tools you're already accustomed to. We'll also be making the Include Recap feature something the system remembers your preferences on, so you won't need to make changes to that checkbox each time you build an invoice. The next development step after the invoice gets fully integrated is the concept of a real estimate. We are looking at a process where you build one or more estimates, pick one as a template, then as your team loads scope and timecard entries, the system alerts you to the remaining value on that estimate and eventually can help build a supplement for you when needed. Your feedback on this design is very important to us, and we're really excited about how the scoping, invoicing, and timecard tools are starting to come together into a comprehensive tool to help you optimize your business. Thank you for your time.